What could make 3 seasoned lighthouse keepers vanish without a trace from a remote Scottish island, leaving behind an untouched meal and a single overturned chair? In December 1900, on the storm-lashed Flannan Isles, the Eilean Mòr lighthouse suddenly went dark. When a relief vessel finally reached the shore, they found an eerie silence. Inside the lighthouse, the clocks had all stopped. The keepers' beds were unmade, and a full meal sat cold on the kitchen table, as if they had been interrupted mid-supper. The men themselves, James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, were gone. No bodies were ever found. The official logbook contains strange, unsettling entries about an unprecedented storm, but the last entry suggested the calm had returned. Yet, the men were gone. Were they swept away by a rogue wave, as the official report concluded, or did something far more sinister unfold within the lonely confines of that stone tower? This is the story of a maritime mystery that has endured for over a century, a riddle of 3 lost men, an abandoned dinner, and a silence that speaks volumes. On the remote, wind-scoured outcrop of Eilean Mòr, a modern marvel stood against the fury of the North Atlantic, the Flannan Isles lighthouse. Completed just a year prior, in 1899, it was a testament to Victorian engineering, a beacon of safety for ships navigating the treacherous waters off Scotland's outer Hebrides. But this symbol of light was also a prison of isolation for the 3 men tasked with its upkeep: principal keeper James Ducat, a seasoned veteran; second assistant Thomas Marshall, a sturdy family man; and occasional keeper Donald MacArthur, a tough, all-purpose laborer. It was a world unto itself. Their lives were dictated by the lamp's rotation, the polished brass, and the relentless, roaring symphony of the sea. They were the sole inhabitants of a 15-acre rock, miles from any other soul. In this lonely kingdom of stone and spray, they were the guardians of the light, unaware that their vigil was about to become one of history's most enduring maritime riddles. The world was on the cusp of a new century, but on Eilean Mòr, time seemed to move differently, measured only by the tides and the turning of the great light. The first note of discord was a profound and unsettling silence. On the night of December 15, 1900, the steamer Archer, on its passage from Philadelphia to Leith, navigated the waters near the Flannan Isles. Its captain, peering into the gloom, noted something deeply wrong. The lighthouse, the one reliable star in this dark expanse, was not lit. He dutifully logged the anomaly, a detail that would later prove chillingly significant. Upon docking, the report was passed to the Northern Lighthouse Board, but a ferocious storm system had already descended upon the Hebrides. For days, hurricane-force winds and mountainous seas made any approach to Eilean Mòr impossible. On the mainland, concerns slowly curdled into genuine alarm. Every passing day the light remained extinguished was another verse in a growing ballad of dread. The keepers were trained professionals. They knew the protocols. For the light to fail was unusual. For them to remain silent was unthinkable. The island, shrouded in tempest and mystery, held its peace, while the ocean raged, guarding a secret that was deepening with every passing hour. On December 26th, after the storms finally abated, the relief vessel Hesperus sliced through the gray, choppy waters towards Eilean Mòr. On board, Captain Jim Harvey felt a growing sense of foreboding. The island was unnervingly still. The customary flag was not flying from the mast, and no keepers were waiting at the landing stage to greet them. After repeated blasts from the ship's horn, and the firing of a signal flare yielded no response, the relief keeper, Joseph Moore, was rowed ashore alone. His ascent up the steep cliffside path was one of mounting tension. He found the main entrance gate and the inner kitchen door both unlocked but not broken. Inside the lighthouse, an eerie tableau awaited him. A clock on the wall had stopped. A single chair was overturned at the kitchen table, as if someone had risen in a sudden hurry. A meal of salted meat, pickles, and potatoes lay on the table, untouched and cold. The beds were unmade, and the keeper's oilskin waterproofs were gone. The men were simply not there. The lighthouse was a perfect, silent tomb, a stage set for a drama whose final act was missing. The search of the abandoned lighthouse yielded one crucial, yet confounding, piece of evidence: the keeper's logbook. The last entries, penned by Second Assistant Thomas Marshall, painted a disturbing picture. On December 12th, he wrote of a storm with severe winds the likes of which I have never seen, a strange claim given the weather was reportedly calm in the region. He noted that James Ducat, the stoic principal keeper, had become very quiet. The entry for that day ended with a chilling observation. Donald MacArthur, the toughest of the three, was crying. The next day's entry spoke of the storm still raging, and how the three men were praying together. This psychological drama, contained within the pages of the log, was completely at odds with the physical state of the lighthouse, which showed no signs of storm damage. The final entry, dated December 15th, was the most perplexing of all. In neat, clear handwriting, it stated, "Storm is over. Sea calm. God is over all." After that, there was only silence. The logbook, intended to be a record of mundane duties, had become a testament to an unseen terror. Its final words a cryptic epitaph that only deepened the enigma. The official inquiry fell to Robert Muirhead, superintendent of the Northern Lighthouse Board. A man of logic and procedure, he meticulously examined the site and interviewed the crew of the Hesperus. He dismissed tales of sea serpents or ghostly apparitions, seeking a rational explanation. His final report concluded that the tragedy was an act of nature. He theorized that a series of massive, unexpected waves had struck the island during a lull in the storm. Two men, likely Ducat and Marshall, must have gone down to the western landing to secure a supply crate and its ropes, which had been dislodged. When a colossal wave swept them away, the third man, MacArthur, must have rushed out to help, only to meet the same fate. The missing oilskins supported this. It was a plausible, tidy verdict. Yet, questions lingered. Why would three experienced keepers venture out together, against all regulations? Why did the logbook speak of a storm that never happened? For over a century, the verdict of the sea has been the official story. But the Flannan Isles mystery endures. A cautionary tale whispered on the wind about three men who kept the light, until the darkness took them. The official report, citing a monstrous wave, did little to quell the storm of speculation brewing back on the mainland. For a public steeped in maritime folklore, a more supernatural explanation seemed fitting. Whispers spoke of ancient sea spirits, of the mythical phantom of the seven hunters said to haunt the isles, claiming souls for the ocean. Had the men seen something they were not meant to see? Others pointed to a more terrestrial, yet equally chilling, possibility. Foul play. Inside the claustrophobic confines of the tower, could tensions have boiled over? The strange log entries fueled this fire. Was James Ducat's quietness a sign of brewing conflict? Was William MacArthur's weeping a prelude to a desperate act? Perhaps a sudden argument on the cliff edge, a shove, a frantic struggle, and then silence. The idea of one keeper, driven mad by isolation, turning on his companions was a popular and terrifying theory. Yet, with no witnesses and no bodies, these notions remain just that. Phantoms of the mind, as insubstantial as the Hebridean mists that so often shrouded the island in secrecy. More than a century has passed, yet the silence from Eilean Mòr still echoes. The story of the three keepers has transcended mere historical record, becoming a modern myth woven into poems, songs, and stage plays. It serves as a potent reminder of humanity's smallness against the immense, indifferent power of the ocean. Modern science, however, offers a less poetic but more plausible explanation. Oceanographers studying the unique topography of the island suggest a series of anomalous waves, not one single rogue giant. These waves could have been funneled and amplified by the coastline's geography. It's conceivable that two men went to secure equipment near the western landing during a lull in a storm, only to be swept away by an unexpected surge. The third keeper, seeing his colleagues in peril from the tower, would have rushed out to help, only to be claimed by the next colossal wave. This explains the abandoned meal and the unmade beds. It was a sudden crisis, not a planned departure. But without a single body recovered from the unforgiving Atlantic, this logical theory remains just that, a theory. The Flannan Isles lighthouse stands today, automated and solitary, a silent monument to an answer forever lost to the waves.